Two people who loved each other more than they knew how to express, yet hurt each other more than they ever intended. Before starting the story, please subscribe and like the video, and listen through end for chill. To anyone walking down Maplewood Lane, the house with the pale blue shutters and rose bushes looks like a postcard of American peace. Children biked past it, couples walked their dogs by it, and neighbors often slowed down to admire the seasonal wreath hanging on its door. Inside that house lived Jason and Emma Hayes, married for 9 years, loved for most of them, and lost in the last 2. But no one knew that part. On the outside, they were the couple who hosted barbecues, brought homemade cookies to neighborhood gatherings, and sat together on their porch swing every Sunday morning with matching mugs of coffee. Inside, the silence was loud enough to hurt. It had been 6 months since their lives had split into a before and after. 6 months since they lost their unborn son, Noah. 6 months since grief took the version of themselves they once loved and turned the rest of their marriage into a battlefield neither wanted to fight. Emma stood in the kitchen that Monday morning, staring at the sunlight spilling across the counter. Jason's lunchbox sat where it always did, next to the note she stopped writing 3 months ago. "I can't keep pretending," she whispered to the empty room. She used to slip handwritten notes into his lunch, little reminders like, "Drive safe, you big goof," or "I love you even when you steal the blankets." But now, everything she touched felt heavy. Jason walked in quietly, grabbed his lunch and paused. He looked at her like he wanted to say something, anything, but fear closed his throat. "Morning," he said. "Morning." 2 syllables, 2 strangers. Their eyes met for a second, just one, and she saw exhaustion in his. He saw emptiness in hers. Then he left. That was their life now. Emma worked from home as a freelance photographer, though her camera had collected dust since the loss. Every time she lifted it, she imagined the nursery she once planned to fill with pictures. Tiny hands, sleepy smiles, bare little feet curled on soft blankets. She never took those photos. Jason worked long hours as a construction supervisor. He used to come home smelling of sawdust and sunshine, wrap his arms around her, and talk about everything that happened that day. She used to listen like every word mattered. Now he came home tired, drained, carrying unspoken guilt like bricks in his pockets. He blamed himself for the accident. She blamed herself for not telling him how scared she was before it happened. Neither blamed each other, but both felt alone with their own pain. In the evenings, they sat on opposite ends of their couch, the TV flickering pointless light in the room. They rarely spoke. When they did, conversations sounded like strangers remembering they once shared a heart. Sometimes Jason reached out, brushing his hand against hers. Sometimes she pulled away. Sometimes she didn't, but she always flinched, just a little, like someone touching the bruise. And he noticed. It was on a Wednesday night, the kind of night where nothing should have gone wrong, when everything did. Jason forgot to take out the trash. Something small, something meaningless, but grief doesn't care about reason. Emma stood by the overflowing can, her jaw tight, trying to breathe through the frustration that wasn't truly about garbage at all. "When are you going to help around here?" she snapped. Jason blinked in surprise. "I've been working 12 hours a day, Em. I'm trying." "You're always trying, but nothing changes." "What do you want me to do, quit my job? Sit here and stare at the walls with you?" The words hit too hard, too fast, too unfair. She froze. Jason knew instantly he'd messed up. "Emma, I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did," she whispered, tears gathering in her eyes. You think I'm doing nothing, that I should be fine by now." "No," he said immediately. "I don't think that. I don't know how to help. You won't talk to me." "How do I talk about something that destroyed me?" she cried. He stepped toward her. She stepped back. And that tiny movement broke something deep inside him. "I'm still here," he said softly, "even if you don't want me to be." She looked at him with the kind of grief he didn't know how to fix. "That's the problem, Jason. You are here, but it still feels like I'm alone." He said nothing. She said nothing. Silence swallowed the house whole. Jason wasn't a man who cried easily. But that night, he sat in his truck, parked in their driveway, gripping the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. He remembered everything: her laughter, her hope, her excitement when she first showed him the positive pregnancy test, the way she hugged him, shaking with joy. He also remembered the panic in her voice the night she said something felt wrong. He had been working on a project deadline. He told her to rest, to relax, that everything was fine. He was wrong. And he never forgave himself. Inside the house, Emma sat on the bedroom floor with her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Her breathing was uneven, broken, like someone who held everything in for too long. She didn't know how to tell him the truth. She didn't blame him. She loved him. She was just scared of the world now. Scared of her own body. Scared of hoping again. Scared of breaking again. Every time she looked at him, she saw the life they almost had. Every time he looked at her, he saw the pain he couldn't take away. They were drowning in the same ocean, but on different sides of the storm. One night, after weeks of silence, Emma reopened her journal, a place she hadn't touched since the pregnancy. She wrote, "Dear Jason, I miss us. I miss the way you danced in the kitchen with me even when there was no music. I miss the way you'd press your forehead against mine and whisper you loved me. I miss the way we dreamed. I'm scared to say it out loud, but I think we're fading. And that terrifies me more than anything we've been through." She folded the letter. She hid it in the nightstand drawer. She never gave it to him. The turning point came the night Emma collapsed in the bathroom. Jason found her sitting against the cold tiles, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Her breathing was uneven, broken, like someone who held everything in for too long. Jason patted mom titty so they kaide kitsan kyom guldan quinem. She didn't look at him. She just whispered brokenly, "I don't know how to live with this pain anymore." He felt something inside him shatter. Without hesitation, he pulled her into his arms. She resisted for a second, like she wasn't allowed to need him, but then her body gave in. She sobbed into his chest, clutching his shirt like she might drown if she let go. "I'm so sorry," Jason whispered over and over. "I'm so sorry. I miss him," she cried. "I miss him too." They stayed on that bathroom floor for almost an hour, two people grieving the same child, finally letting the walls fall. And for the first time in months, the silence didn't separate them. It healed them. Healing didn't come instantly. They went to therapy, together, separately. They learned how to talk again, slowly, painfully, honestly. One day in therapy, Jason finally admitted, "I thought you blamed me." Emma's eyes widened. "I never blamed you. But I blamed myself," he said in a cracked voice. Emma reached for his hand, the first time she initiated touch in months. She whispered, "I lost our baby too. Don't carry that alone." Another day, Emma admitted, "I pulled away because I didn't know how to let you see my broken parts." Jason cupped her face gently. "I married all of you, even the broken parts." Little by little, they rebuilt what they lost. Not the same marriage, not the same dreams. Something new. Something honestly strong. Seasons changed, leaves fell, snow came, spring returned. One evening, they sat together on their porch swing, the same one everyone admired but never understood. Jason held her hand. Emma leaned into him. Do you ever think we'll be okay?" she asked softly. "No," he said, and she looked up sharply. Then he continued, "I think we already are, because we're learning to live again, together." She exhaled, a slow release of months of fear. "I still get scared." "So do I," he admitted. "But we don't have to be scared alone." She rested her head on his shoulder. "Thank you for staying." He kissed the top of her head. "Thank you for letting me." And for the first time in a long time, their hearts beat and sync again. Life didn't magically fix itself. There were still hard days, quiet mornings, unexpected tears. But now they faced them together. Emma took photos again of sunsets, birds, sunlight on the porch. Not of babies, not yet. But she smiled behind the camera again. Jason started coming home earlier, cooking dinner with her, learning new recipes just to see her laugh when he burned things. They talked more, listened more, held each other more. One night, as they lay in bed, Emma whispered, "Jason, yeah? I want to try again someday. Not now, not soon. Just someday." He didn't rush to respond. He pulled her close, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Whenever you're ready, I'll be right here." She smiled into his chest, tears softening her eyelashes. For the first time since losing their child, the future didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a possibility. Months later, they visited the quiet hill where they'd planted a small tree in memory of Noah. The branches were taller now, stronger, reaching toward the sky. Emma rested her hands on her stomach, not pregnant, just hopeful. Jason noticed and intertwined his fingers with hers. "It's okay to hope again," he said softly. Emma looked at the growing tree, then at her husband, the man who had broken with her, healed with her, stayed with her when everything hurt. "Yes," she whispered, "it finally is." And with the wind brushing gently through the branches above them, they stood hand in hand, ready for whatever life would bring next. Not because they were unbreakable, but because they had learned how to break and still choose each other. If that story gave you chills, drop a like, subscribe, and comment so I know you made it to the end. I've got another one. See you then.